Tammy Bruce cut from Face the Nation, didn't you? Yeah,
Who's she?
She's
Sorry, I don't know.
a commentator, radio talk show host. She's also gay, and she's pro-choice. And she tore up Hillary on Face the Nation. It was actually rather entertaining, just in terms of her perspective on issues and why she's defaulting to Donald Trump. Well, let's hear it in toto.
So what I'm looking at is I'm voting for President Trump, for Mr. Trump, for the thousands of women who deserve to not be murdered, as an example, by the one of the 1.2 million illegal alien criminals in this nation. There is violence. It's about economic freedom. It's about the jobs. Again, I mentioned earlier the 3.7 million women in poverty now since Obama became president. So, yes, of course we would prefer fabulousness at every level. For Mr. Trump, I prefer to be offended by him on occasion than be left for dead by Hillary.
Wow, those are some strong words.
Yes.
Makes a good point.
That is between the eyes. And, Paul Ryan, who's been a bit of a whipping boy for Donald Trump, he offered a speech in Wisconsin on Friday.
In Madison.
Yeah. And it was a very good speech, and he framed the choice, not dissimilarly than Trump has framed it when he's been on his game, or at least what I would say is on his game. Paul Ryan offering a more academic version of it, but nonetheless, a very powerful statement, a pointed statement.
And so at this time, I would like to invite you to reflect on this choice that we are facing here. The last 8 years has been one long liberal progressive experiment. Time and again, we have been told, if we just spend more money, create more programs to live under, more rules to live by, put one more wing on the great palace of government, this will solve all of our problems. Yet after all of that, we feel less safe and less secure, less free and less prosperous. As government grows more unaccountable and unresponsive, there is less faith and less trust. And that is because liberal progressivism simply does not work. It's the longest con.
The longest con. I'll tell you what.
That's good.
It'd be nice to hear Trump cut and paste a portion of Paul Ryan's remarks for Wednesday's debate. Frankly, that portion. Trump is going to be in Wisconsin today, and Senator Ron Johnson is also going to be in Wisconsin because that's where he's a senator from. Senator Ron Johnson joins us now. Senator, thanks for joining us again. We appreciate it.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning. And so Trump is in Wisconsin. Will you be with Trump in Wisconsin today?
I will not. These campaign stops were always hastily announced, and I've always got my schedule, so schedules do not coincide.
All right, and you're in your own re-election battle, and this is a critically important seat, not just because of the balance of power, but also because of the quality of representation that you've provided, in my estimation. And so our friends and listening audience north of the cheese curtain, listen up, because this is a dead heat right now between you and Feingold. And it really kind of is the choice that Paul Ryan laid out on Friday, isn't it?
No, it is the choice. It's are we going to cement into the fabric of our society President Obama's fundamental transformation of this nation? That's what he said. In 5 days before he got elected, he said he was going to fundamentally transform America, and he meant it, and that's what he's been going about doing. Remaking our healthcare system, a massively growing government, the stretch and reach and control of these agencies over people's lives, and like Paul laid out there, it doesn't work. One of the questions I ask to audiences in Wisconsin, and I've literally asked this question to tens of thousands of Wisconsinites, just simply, do you think the federal government is efficient and effective? A handful of people out of tens of thousands have raised their hand. The alternate to that is, well, how many people think it's pretty dysfunctional and broken? Everybody raised their hands. So stop growing it. Stop sending people like Hillary Clinton, Senator Feingold, who first of all, think they're smarter than you. They're so smart, they're going to design a healthcare system, force you to buy the kind of health insurance that they want you to buy, causing premiums to skyrocket, making healthcare less affordable. And, of course, they're absolutely dedicated to growing that inefficient, ineffective, dysfunctional, broken place. And like Paul said, it doesn't work.
So you had a Senate debate a few days ago, and you referred to Trump as our Republican nominee without, he didn't say his name, but you do support Trump on a number of issues, including securing the border and fighting ISIS, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the business person in me. You accentuate the positive, and you work really hard to find areas of agreement. And on the big thing, strengthening our economy, which is the first step. We have to have a stronger economy. We're not even coming close to realizing the full potential of the American economy. We have to strengthen our military. It's being hollowed out right now, which puts our nation and, quite honestly, world peace at risk. We have to defeat ISIS. It's been more than 2 years since President Obama laid out that goal, America's goal toward ISIS, which was defeated. Now, fortunately, we're moving on Mosul, but that's just in Iraq. They remain quite strong in Syria, in that failed state. And, of course, we have to secure our border and appoint judges, not super legislators, to the Supreme Court. So on the big issues, absolutely I'm in alignment with our nominee.
And also this issue, because we're talking to Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. You're head of Homeland Security, chairman of that committee in the Senate. And this Fox News story over the weekend, the possibility that there was a quid pro quo between a senior State Department official and FBI agents during the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Jason Chaffetz characterizing this as a flashing red light of potential criminality. The quid pro quo allegedly involving the Undersecretary of Management at State, Patrick Kennedy, and the FBI over at least one classified email in return for altering the classification. The possibility of additional slots for the FBI at missions overseas was discussed. Do you know anything more about this story than Fox News is reporting?
I don't, but does it shock anybody? I don't know how many more scandals need to be revealed, how much more wrongdoing, how many more lies Hillary Clinton needs to be revealed before the American public wakes up and says, there's no way we can let her be president. I mean, she has decades worth of corruption, lying, bald-faced to the American public. And yet, a lot of our citizens are just going to put all that behind them, apparently, and potentially vote for her. I mean, she's thoroughly disqualified. Her dereliction of duty in Benghazi cost 4 Americans their lives, and then she had the gall to look the surviving family members of those heroes from Benghazi in the eye and lie to them. Talking about a video as opposed to her own culpability. So, I mean, Hillary Clinton is clearly disqualified to be president. Obviously, leaving saying she left the White House broke, and how many years later, they're worth tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, peddling influence, selling access to the State Department. No, there's really nothing that could be revealed about Hillary Clinton that would shock me. And
you mentioned Obamacare before, and her answer in the last debate was essentially it's not big enough. We need to scale it. Bill Clinton saying force everybody into Medicaid. Boy, people have no idea what they're in for if that happens. On Friday, our local state government here in Illinois approved some rate increases for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, the preferred PPO, as well as the preferred PPO multi-state plan. 52% premium increase. As one industry expert who operates in Illinois said, it's the highest premium increases I've seen in 20 years, unprecedented. I wonder what's happening in Wisconsin and what do you think of Obamacare more generally in terms of this being more central in terms of people's consideration the last 3 weeks?
Obamacare has been an utter disaster. Remember, there are 3 promises made. If you like your health care plan, if you like your doctor, you can keep it. And if you pass the health care bill, President Obama said families will be paying up to $2,500 less per year for health care. In Wisconsin, of the 6 demographic groups studied by Manhattan Institute since Obamacare was implemented, the lowest price increase is 1.8 times. The highest is over 3 times. In other words, some people are paying more than 3 times what they were paying before the implementation of Obamacare. And I was asking the Ed Board last week, well, Senator, would you like to turn back the clock? You bet. I mean, if I could return premiums to where they were a third to a half of where they are today, you bet I'd go back to that world. But again, when you fundamentally transform something, it's going to be very difficult to repair the damage. But no, Obamacare has been an unmitigated disaster. And this just shows the bias in the media. I always say that the bias in the media is revealed far more in what they don't report versus the very overt bias in what they do. So where are the stories, the drumbeat of victims of Obamacare, people who lost their health care, can't see a doctor they know and trust, and whose premiums have doubled and tripled, as have their deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums. It's just not being reported, so there's not the outrage that really ought to be present in the body politic.
And one thing I just want to underscore your conversation at that editorial board, it's so fascinating. That is the mantra of the left, and it's so ignorant, and it needs to be identified. this idea that the most advanced point in time is necessarily the most civilized or the best across the board. Oh, the only thing that ever happens is things get better. So, go back in time with respect to Obamacare. Yes, if I could go back in time and undo catastrophes, I would. What's wrong with that? I mean, to your point, but the gall, you talk about the gall of the media, the gall to suggest that this is winding back the clock to some barbaric era were we to repeal and replace this monstrosity.
Well, we're on the path toward a fully socialist state. And so take a look at the Soviet Union, no longer exists. Look at Venezuela, an oil-rich nation. It's an economic basket case. How about what should be the island paradise of Cuba? But, communism, socialism destroyed that economy. And if you really want equal results, take a look at North Korea, and you can be equally miserable.
In the dark.
So, we know this doesn't work. Why would we experiment with it? Well, because the left took over our university systems and literally brainwashed our young people.
All right. He is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. He's on the ballot on November 8th. Senator Johnson, website or any more information you want to direct people to?
Ron Johnson for Senate.com. I could use all the help I can get to make sure that Russ Feingold doesn't get his old Senate seat back.
Amen to that. Senator Johnson, good luck. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.